Hello and welcome to Cracked Open, a podcast guiding you on your journey to becoming a vessel of unconditional love. This is your host, Beck Milonis, High Priestess, Channel, and Activator. Join me on this series as I share reflections, insights, and channel transmissions from my journey of walking the initiation path. Each episode is a unique transmission containing supportive frequencies to facilitate the deepest healing, activation, and reconnection with your soul. I invite you to open your mind and set the intention to receive this episode into your heart space. Let's go. Just close down your eyes with me and consciously dropping into this space. Holy moly, there's a lot of energy here. Consciously coming into this space together with the intention that this episode, this transmission we are co-creating and weaving together serves the greatest good of all. Calling on your higher self, your soul team, my higher self, my soul team. It feels really, I never do this, but I feel to call in the ancestors because they're already really present, like as I was opening this space. And just setting the intention that all who are supposed to receive from this lineage, from this transmission, whatever ways they find this at the highest timing, highest alignment, and that everything that is supposed to be supportive for the earth in this process and what we're creating also supports the earth, the land. If you have any intentions, I'd love for you to share them.
To honor the ancestors who feel called to gather around us here as two women displaced from our land.
Oh my God. Whew.
And finding our way home through our remembrance.
Jesus, I don't know if you can feel that. It's like so much love. Wow.
Yeah.
I think this might have to be one of those podcasts where I drop it in as we're dropping in. I've been doing that a lot lately just because I want people to feel this transmission. So when you're ready, just open your eyes and I think we're just gonna roll with this energy and just thanking these beautiful my ancestors, your ancestors. It's so rare for me to get to really like sink into the Greek lineage that I'm from. And guys, I'm super excited to have Elyse Welles here with me today. She's a Greek Egyptian high priestess. I've got a bio here. She teaches people how to work with the land and the deities, not just of Greece, but where you are. An author and columnist, she is the Greek correspondent for the Wild Hunt Pagan News and writes for Witchology and Witch Way magazine. An initiated high priestess of eclectic fairy tradition of witchcraft and holding an MA in spiritual studies, she teaches online courses and guides immersive pilgrimages to Greek's Numina. Sacred places, it's my country, I don't even know the word. I mean, sacred places like oracles, caves, springs, and temples. So I saw Elyse on Instagram and I've been watching you for a while, and there's something just was like, you have to bring this lady on, you have to talk to her. Obviously, guys on here that listen to me, you know I'm Greek, or if you don't know now, you know I'm 98 or 99% full-blooded Greek, but I grew up in Australia, and Elyse has a similar story. So I'm just going to introduce you, say hello, please say hello to my people. Tell us a little bit about, I feel like we're just going to get straight into like lineage and what it's
Yeah.
this displaced, like having this strong in your blood, but then growing up in America, you know, it's just such a similar story.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's very hard because so for my dad, he's from Greece. He was born and raised there. He's also Egyptian. So I have both of those nationalities. And my dad met my mom. Actually, they were pen pals since they were little kids. She's an American, like going way back, and he's obviously not. And they were in some radio show where they paired up people to be partners for pen pals, and they wrote for 13 years. And then after my mom graduated college here in the U.S., she went over to Greece to meet him, and they fell in love. And so my dad never saw himself leaving Greece. And so he kind of spent his whole life they decided to raise us in the US for opportunity, right? For education, like all Greeks who leave. You know, those listening probably don't realize this, but more than half of Greece's citizens live outside of the country. Imagine if that was true for the US or Australia. Like it's that's kind of sad, you know?
Yeah.
And imagine those are the people from that land. They've lived on that land like uninterrupted for thousands of years, and now they have no opportunity in their own home countries, or they're even in their home villages. Greeks are forced into Athens. So there's a theme I've noticed in my studies and in my work with the land of just Greeks love our land so much, and yet we never seem able to stay on it. Like even
Mm.
myself, like I was fully committed to living my life in Greece. My parents retired there. My dad fought his whole life to get back to Greece, couldn't make it until retirement. That he made it, finally retired there and is living his dream. But 55 years toiling in the US, waiting, waiting, waiting. He worked other places too. He loved travel, but really just wishing he could be at home in Greece. And I see that story echoed throughout the centuries. I see it happening now. And for myself, I was like, you know what? I'm an American. I can use that privilege to help myself live in Greece. And even with that privilege, Greece was just not a place I could be my full self the full year. So
Mm.
I made the decision in March of 2025. I have two books coming out this year. My career in the US is starting to really pick up. I've been speaking at a lot of conferences and festivals. And so I had to leave Greece, even as it gave me everything and I could stay. I tried for 2 years. My guides were like, you can't do it all here. You can't do it all here. And then I would get the same message, you'll never leave. You'll never leave. And so I started to feel guilty thinking I had to come here. And it was actually the god Hades who came to me in March when I made this choice to stay, look for a home in the US. And I still have my home with my family in Greece. I still go 3 months a year, but and more. I'd visit as well. But I can't just be there. And Hades said to me, you aren't supposed to just be there. You are a walker between worlds, and that is your gift. Because some can be a walker between worlds in spirit. You are a walker between worlds in this life, on this plane, and that is your gift.
Oh my God, there's so much. I'm like getting so emotional already. Because as you were talking about like the land and like we can't live on the land, like we're gypsies. There's this energy of gypsies, and I personally like it hit me in my heart because I'm like, fuck, I want to anchor, like I want to be somewhere. I'm in Queensland. I'm like, I want to stay here. But there's this always like moving, calling, and exactly what you said, like we're not meant to be anchored in one place, and there's this deep desire to like put down roots somewhere. And for me, I've always felt called to Greece as well. But it's yeah, it's like how do we live there? We can't, like it's not. Oh wow, fuck, so many
Yeah.
emotional things coming up for me. Yeah. And my
The
dad,
way,
sorry,
sorry.
and then it's one thought, then you can finish. My dad's side were shepherds and farmers, and like they would like travel. They would travel all the time, then come back to the village. Yeah.
That's exactly what I was going to say is I have learned to view Greece and her land for me as like the inkwell. I'm the writer, but Greece is who gives me the ability to have anything to write. I need her ink. I need her message, her and it is her message. I don't really pick what to do. I just follow what I'm being guided to understand. And even from this far away as you are, Greece is doing the same for you. Like you are here right now in all the things you do.
Yeah, I feel it in my heart. Like honestly, I could just sit here crying because that's how I'm feeling in this energy, and just feeling really honored by the ancestors too. Like they're just so present for me right now. Because I think I used to go to Greece a lot as a kid. Like we'd go a couple times a year when my grandparents were there, but I haven't been since I was like 14, and I've been completely disconnected from all the Greekness. I don't even speak very well Greek because I refused to go to Greek school as a child because I was a brat. But I know, like, you're gonna get hit with a shoe and come eat and tafasik, all the things, like all the my yelling at me. But I feel so disconnected, and yet my soul feels so Greek, and it's this like tension of like I don't feel Australian. And I say this to people all the time. They say, "Where are you from?" I'm like, "I'm Greek. I'm 100% Greek, yet I'm Australian." And it's this conflict because then if I would go to Greece, I would feel completely displaced there. I would feel like my soul would feel home, but I would also feel, okay, fine, we're gonna do it. They're telling me Delphi. I'm like, fine, okay, it's coming, and I know it's gonna be big for me. That's why I'm like putting it off. But um, I know that. So this is the story that I'm going to share to lead us into Delphi. I had this awareness or realization that magic that runs through my blood runs through my dad's side, his family. and they're inland, right? And I have this download, I have this knowing that I incarnated into the exact same lineage, the same line to clear up basically all the trauma that I caused myself. Like it was me. I fucked that the whole line basically way back when I was
Wow.
the Pythia, one of the Pythia. Like, and I'm not attached to that. I know that there was many. It's not a big deal, but that Elise was actually the most traumatic life I have had. And since that life, I've been cleaning up like literally just so much baggage, so much wounding. Every time I'm about to rise to my full expression, that oracle version of me, she freaks out and like pulls me back down because she was basically excommunicated and like hung in a cell to die. Never saw her family again, never. So it was like I'm fucking done after that life. It was a huge soul wound. So I know I came back into this exact lineage because I see all the mental health issues and all the things from my family since then, into the same lineage, into the same line, in a different place, obviously, a different context, to clear all that up, but also bring back those codes from Delphi. And so I've seen you posting content about Delphi's the springs coming back online again. And let's talk Delphi, let's talk the Pythia, let's talk everything you know, because I only know what I remember. And that's lived experience, but it's like if someone was to give me a book and say, hey, read up on it, I wouldn't even, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, Delphi is known now for being a site of Apollo, but it was for much longer, for at least 6,000 years, it was a site of the goddess. And I mean that in like the truest capital G, like Gaia, Iyi, the earth. And if you've seen pictures of Delphi, there's the big columns, the Temple of Apollo up on the hill. The actual temple of the goddess was at the bottom of the hill. Not all the way at the bottom because it's Mount Parnassus. It is huge. It is its own god. But at the bottom there of that stretch of mountain, at that plateau, was a sacred grove where Gaia was worshipped. And when patriarchy began rising, Apollo took over. Delphi is one of 13 oracle sites within a 1 hour drive of each other. Phythia, Boeotia in English, Phythia is it's like so far off. It's like, how did we get to Boeotia? Um, these old white guys, dude, like it's insane how they've butchered some of our history.
Oh my God, it's so good.
But it is the land of oracles. So when I last year I had a journey within the Kerkian cave, which is in Mount Parnassus, but on the opposite side of Delphi. So, what we know about the Chrysian cave is that that is where the priestesses originated from. That's where the Pythia originated from. Pythia means she who serves the python, and the python is the global serpent of knowledge. And I don't think it's one serpent. I think that's how earth energy moves, is in serpentine ways beneath the earth. And so as a Pythia, as an oracle, you who works with land, you are able to hear the land and transmute that. So when I was in this cave, I met the python. It initiated me into it remembered. It gave me the memories. It literally, when you go into the Chrysian cave, it's unbelievable. You do a 2.5 kilometer hike straight uphill, not like horrible, but like it's all uphill. So you're tired when you get there. And I was with a friend of mine who's very, very guided and grounded. Like I would not go with anyone who wasn't. Pro tip, anyone out there. And we got to the entrance and we cleansed each other. We did over an hour of prep before we went in. And this is important because what I'm about to describe, I didn't have any of this pain. Okay, I did the whole hike. We stood outside, meditated. When we descended inside, I drummed us in and she sang. And you go in through this little hole, but somehow you step in and it is massive. You could fit 4 Game of Thrones sized dragons comfortably in the main chamber. And that's just the main chamber. We were not called to go too far into the corners, but you could have gone for probably miles. And in the center of that is a spiral that leads to an altar. So as we were walking this spiral, I'm drumming, she's singing. Pan is also known to inhabit this cave, and Pan is the god of my ancestors in Arcadia, in the center of the Peloponnese. And he is the wilds. And as we're singing and drumming, I've never in my life And we were out there for a while. Didn't hear them, didn't see them in the whole Echo of the Valley. We never heard any goats or sheep. And yet, as we're singing and drumming and we hit the spiral, this massive ram comes and fills. That's why we noticed him. He fills the whole light coming in. And it's just the shadows of these great horns
Oh my
on
God.
us.
Whoa.
So the god met us, held space as the sacred masculine is meant to do. And then we just opened to receive. And I felt a dragon step on my chest, literally crush me to the ground. And it just didn't leave. It just literally, it felt like that's all I can say. It's a giant reptile stepped on my chest.
Mm.
So my friend Camille and I get up and we get called towards the back of this cave where I swear it looked like a giant woman sitting on a throne. And I am so sure that that was the original seat of the Pythia, that it was a land spirit, that it was the land itself, this serpent that lived here and gave these prophecies for the women to simply say the words. So I think your memory goes back to that time. And when
Dude.
I was given this knowledge, they were like, it's going to come in drabs. You're not going to get it all today because you wouldn't handle it. You'd die. So
Yeah.
it's been a year of like getting the
Mm.
knowledge, understanding what it is. And just now I'm realizing like that is what it gave me was like these oracle codes.
It's literally this morning I was meditating on what offering I'm like meant to bring forward right now and like what I'm meant to promote. I have this Dragon Master Mystery School, which is about talking, it's working with the land, working with the portals, dragon oracles, dragon priestesses, right? And I was getting told to do this other grid work thing, and like as you're talking about it all, I'm like, it's like literally everything you are saying is so fucking on point for everything that I experience and everything that I am. And that dragon mama, that dragon woman, I believe what you say about she's a dragon. Actually, my taking this further, my belief is that we are the dragon. We shapeshift literally into fucking dragons. And there was a time when we shapeshifted into that dragon being. That dragon being is us. We are the Pythia. As much as there's a dragon guarding or whatever, it's like those dragons are coming back. They are coming back. And I've been working with them a lot. And it's like the oracles and the dragons, they work together because the dragon is the expression of the earth. Like you were saying, the dragon lines of the earth, the energies. So there's this myth around Tiamat. Do you know Have you heard of Tiamat? I'm sure you've heard of Tiamat. You're into all
Oh
of that.
yeah, I work with Anana, so
Yeah,
yeah.
right. Like the dragon that birthed everything. It's like our Mother Earth, and there's been like these parallels between the planet Tiamat being our mother, like Earth's mother, like Tiamat, the planet exploded apparently. I'm still feeling into like whether like it feels true when I feel it, but it exploded, and from the body of Tiamat, Gaia was created. So literally, we come from the fucking
Mm.
cosmic dragon. Like it's like everywhere you go, you can't avoid it. And then in the Bible and all these other mythology religions, the serpent is bad, the serpent is evil. So let's get into some Greek mythology. Like that was so powerful, so beautiful. If you guys didn't see me, I was like fucking over here crying. Not surprising. No, actually, I feel like let's go deeper into this Delphi. So what happened? What happened in your understanding? Because my understanding was that lifetime was very horrific for me, and I was one of the earlier ones. Like I think I was number two. That's what I was told. I was like the second Pythia ever. So it was like fucking ancient. Like, and in that
Yeah, so you're
lifetime,
predating Apollo in that
yeah,
memory. I feel
yes,
that in every fiber of my being because
yeah,
once so the trolls online have their own opinions. Like you'll see they come at me and they're like, there was
yeah,
never a goddess at Delphi. And the
yeah,
reason that they'll defend that is because if all you look at is the written word,
yeah. Mm,
that would be true for you. But that written word only begins 2,300 years ago.
that's
And that
created by
sounds like a
man.
very long time,
Mm,
but not at a site like Delphi where we have archaeological evidence going back 8,000 years. So these people who uphold the written word above all else,
mm,
I find that extremely silly, if nothing else, because we have been talking and playing music and chanting and singing and speaking light language for thousands and thousands and thousands of years, and we can't ignore that
mm.
because we invented tablets and alphabets.
Yeah.
So the written record begins with the Athenians, and
Hmm.
that's 300 BC. It's like Alexander the Great's time period. So
Mm,
before that, though, before Apollo, before conquest, when they didn't conquest, when it was just people connecting to land,
mm.
it was the Pythia. So I wouldn't be surprised if some of your memories also tie back to patriarchy
They
coming
do. They do.
in
And
and
this so
taking.
literally what fucking happened. What happened was, oh, it's like really, it's still really hard for me to share because I feel it so deeply. So basically, what happened was they were wanting me to spin outcomes, like make things up or like talk about war outcomes, things that
Mm,
they didn't align with me, they didn't resonate with me. I was serving God, I was serving this higher purpose, right? I left my fucking family in the village to come be this Pythia, and then it wasn't lighting me up because they were making me, yeah, like speak on things that didn't feel good. And so there's this what I understood from my memory is that there was a rule that they couldn't take you off from being like they couldn't they dismember you, whatever it is, until you were proven a false prophet. And so a bunch of the priests started because the Pythia speaks in tongues and then they interpret her, right? A bunch of the priests started purposely misinterpreting things that I was like saying or spinning things to make it sound like I was doing something, and I started getting pissed off. And I think I was malicious at that point, and so I did start being vague as fuck and like messing with people because I was trying to get away with not having to speak on the things that didn't resonate with me. Long story short, they cast me out as they had a trial, cast me out as a false prophet, left me in a cave, beat me to death. I remember being beaten, raped, abused, hung up to die in this fucking cave, like literally on the floor, never gonna see my family again. The grief of that took me years of sitting in that grief of just like, God, what the fuck? Like, I serve you and this is like what happened to me. So I think it was as we were maybe moving into this more patriarchal time of war and conquest and all of these things, it just really like, it was like, this is not what I'm here for. I left my fucking happy family for this. I left my heaven on earth for this. And so that wound echoes into this life, and I've healed it, I've dealt with it, but it's like she resurfaces of
uh,
this oracle within. It's like, are we really doing this again? Because the last time we did this didn't go so well. So yeah, I think what you're saying about that timing, it resonates. And I don't think since then I haven't been an oracle since then, because it was just, I think I might have had one like witchy life in England or Celtic or something like that, and that didn't go well for me. And then I was like, fuck this shit, I'm out. I'm just gonna reincarnate as a shoe, something. Yeah. Mm,
yeah, and I think that's the other important thing for people listening to know is that oracles are they arose first by as local deities. They were always the land spirits. It was later when like because if you look it up, it'll always be an oracle of Apollo. That's because
mm,
Apollo was kind of like the Mickey Mouse of Disney Corporation, right? Like we love him. He's a great god. A lot of people get a lot out of working with him. He helped me immeasurably in starting my business. Um, but the way he was perverted and used by the system, because even men are victims of toxic masculinity quite as often, if not sometimes even more than women
mm,
can be in situations. So he was definitely used and abused by patriarchy for their purposes.
mm,
But a lot of the oracle sites I've been excavating, not literally as an archaeologist, but spiritually, have been abandoned. Some of them have been abandoned despite attempts to excavate, which has been fun to research.
mm.
And I think that's because land spirits are protecting those sites. Like you go to them and like they're literally just abandoned hillsides. Like you wouldn't unless you know what you're looking for, you wouldn't think anything of it. And we go to a taverna and the guys at the restaurant are always like, "Why are you here for old rocks? You don't have old rocks at home?" And you're like, these old
That's such
rocks
a
are
great thing to
something."
say.
Yeah.
That's classic old Greek man. Oh, I love it.
Hello there,
Here for
Malaka.
all the rocks.
Yeah. Why
He's
are you
so,
here for rocks?
that's great. That's
It's
amazing.
so relatable.
How do they like treat you when you go to these places? They treat you like a foreigner? Do they treat you like a Greek? Like, what's that experience like?
So it depends. If I'm at an archaeological site, I am always there as an American. Because
Right.
as a Greek, if I get caught out doing witchy shit, or they will go to the cops on me, but if I'm a tourist with my girlfriends, it's just oh, these stupid Americans, you know? So then I play it
Right.
that way. But if I'm on my own
Mm,
and I'm actually amongst the people,
mm,
and so, for example, one of the Oracle sites is Apollo Ptuos, and it's totally unexcavated. When they were trying to excavate it, it's on a hillside. So every time they would try to excavate, they would either damage part of the site or rocks would cave in on them. Even when they removed all the big rocks, rocks would find, like, it was the land fighting back.
Mm.
So it's kind of excavated, kind of not. They found some things, but not enough to give a full picture of the site. So I was there, and of course, like most ancient sites in Greece, the church colonized them. I also don't think this was fully hateful, but if they found an ancient place that had power, they would put a church there. I think
Mm.
that was also because they said, "Oh, this place has power. We'll use
Yeah.
it too." I
Yeah.
don't think it, like, a lot of people think it was like hateful, and I don't think it was often
Yeah.
motivated that way.
They were
Some
using
places
that
it was.
tactically. Yeah, they were absolutely
Yeah.
using that energy tactically well, I say siphon it, but like they fucking knew what they were doing. They knew what they were doing.
Yes, exactly. And some places it was like purposely, like Eleusis, they obliterated those temples and then used the rubble to build a church. Like that is a visceral attack. But in
Mm.
this case, I firmly believe that they felt the power of that spring and said, we also want a church here because they didn't destroy the site. They didn't do anything negative to the site. So there was a church right next to this site where we were. I was with a friend of mine, and I was drumming and I channeled some song, and I was actually able to see. They showed me a vision of a procession of priestesses flanked by men, which has been really interesting. But anyway, while I was there, there was this baptism happening at the church next door, and we were gonna just kind of like hide, but instead, because we realized that the ancient site kind of interspersed amongst the back of the church where they were having their barbecue, and instead I just went over and it just in Greek was like, hey, thank kronio pola, like congrats to the baby. um like, do you mind if we go back here and take some pictures? And they're like, oh no, did you know that this over here, this carving is from the Byzantine era? Like, they were very interested.
Mm.
So I've noticed that if they don't really know why you're there, if they think you're just interested, but you're Greek, they're thrilled. So,
Mm.
but it's the system that they're trained at archaeological sites to be assholes to you. It's not even them personally, it's the role they're playing.
Yeah, I found that in Mexico. Like there were some places, and I fully played the I'm just a gringa. I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about, even though my soul is so Mayan, but that's fine. It's like they're literally like they will kick you out. Like it's not okay, especially because there was so much trauma with what happened to the Mayans. Like it's like literally don't fuck around, don't do a ceremony, don't like they will kick you out. There's a few things that's coming through to ask. So one is, do you think that there are Greek women now present in Greece aware of these sites, using these sites? Because like, so for instance, my first book is about how a lot of the Mayans don't do this good work. They don't do this sacred work anymore. And that's why I was called to go there, because a lot of the tradition's been lost, sort of thing. Like that specific, like lots of their traditions they carry. And I'm not going to sit here and be this fucking white person being like, none of them are carrying their ceremonies, but like the specific working with the land, working with the pyramids, working with the grids, they're not doing it. And that's why I was called there. And I don't know if it's because they don't have the resources to be able to travel around, because a lot of them don't have money, or it just was like wiped out, or I don't know the reason why. So I'm wondering, yeah, do you think that there's women still doing that? Is the first question. The second, well, it's more the exploration of, I've seen you post that witchcraft is banned in Greece and that there are like legal, what the fuck? So let's go into that as a second thing, because they kind of go together. I feel like if they are
Yes,
women,
because
they're
the
probably
answer,
terrified of being
yeah.
prosecuted.
Exactly. So I tried to start a coven. I'm initiated in the eclectic fairy tradition of witchcraft, which means I have, a hidden book shadows of lore, of rituals. And I was like, oh, great, I'll start a coven in Greece.
Yeah.
And I found 14 witches finally. Like you've seen, like I have decent presence online.
Mm.
14. 14
Wow.
total. That would fill out the form I required. And of those 14, none of them would meet in person because they could not trust that the other people wouldn't out them.
Oh my God.
So in Greece, your taftotita, your ID card, has your religion right under your name. And you only get a certain amount of choices on that. And if it doesn't say Orthodox, so you couldn't put witch, you couldn't put pagan, like you couldn't even put that if you wanted, you'd have to check other. If you have anything but Orthodox on there, you're not getting that apartment, you're not getting that job, you're not getting that car, whatever you want, you're not getting it. And it is fully legal to persecute somebody for charging money for spiritual services. So
Oh.
anything at all. Divination is illegal. Prisons in Greece are not even allowed to have playing cards because they're afraid of them using them for divination. Regular playing cards.
Oh my God.
So, and then pair with that the fact that that there's a national religion, the Orthodox Church, and that they have a first say in everything the government does. So, like same-sex marriage was
Yeah.
12 years late to being legalized in Greece because of the church. So, and it was
Mm.
very reluctantly done. It was because the EU was like, you can't be in the EU and not respect the other EU laws. So that was the only reason they finally passed it. So,
This is blowing my mind because I'm like, my AI was reading coffee cup things and people in the village would come to. So it's like, what, in the villages, they're just like, fuck you guys, we do whatever. And like in the mainland, they're very like, I don't,
but
yeah.
they would never, they would say, because my yaya too, she's great at her coffee divination. My Thea does really good. She actually reads the plate instead of the
Yeah.
cup.
Yeah.
Um, and but my Thea is pretty witchy, and she openly is. But my Yaya, like, she would viscerally promise you up and down Mother Mary gives her the power.
Yeah.
And if
Okay.
I said, "Oh, I'm talking to Gaia, the goddess," it would be straight to the church for cleansing. So if you
Wow.
try to suggest that, oh yes, you're putting, you've seen it right at the
Mm.
icons, like people will have a little leg picture that they hang because their leg needs healing and they go to the saint who also had a leg that needed healed. That is so witchy. That is so
Yeah.
pagan. That is not something the church in any other place in the world would do.
Yeah.
Well, Eastern Orthodoxy does, but
Yeah.
you know what I mean. In the West, it's not happening.
Mm.
But if you suggest to a Greek person that, like, this, did you know your ancestors did this before Christianity? It would be, nah, instantly angry.
Yeah. And
Frederico, don't you say these things.
they kiss
Yeah.
the fucking goddess. The guy walks around with frankincense, like blasting the church with fucking frankincense. They sing these hymns, which is basically just toning. They make the eggs at Easter, like they decorate.
I
Like it's just
know.
like, oh my fucking God, can you not see the ritual? Like it's all pagan ritual in this. It's crazy, but it's also again like it's very similar when you look at like Mexico, Mayan and the Catholic. You know,
True.
the Santa
Santa
Maria. All that
Muerta.
stuff. Yeah. All that stuff is very similar. They're just kind of blending, which is wild, but it's like actually unfathomable for me that I'm like over here on Instagram being like, how good is it that witches don't get burnt at the stake anymore and we don't get, and I can just be a fucking witch high priestess on Instagram. And it's like my own country. If I was literally living in my own country, I would not be able to do what I do. And that just makes me like, the emotions I'm feeling around that is like, fucked. Like, I didn't know
Yeah.
that. I didn't know that.
And the only way I'm able to do it in Greece is because I'm also an American. So I run my business fully legally, obviously all above board, but as an American company. I
Mm,
literally legally could not do my retreats in Greece. So people, that's why like it sounds so big-headed of me when I say I'm the only native Greek priestess teaching
yeah,
these arts in Greece,
yeah,
but it's true. And I
yeah.
hope that by saying it, people will be like, there's no way that's true. And then they'll start researching and find out. And I also hope that on the other side of it, that other Greek women will stand up and say, hey, I want to learn that. Hey, I want to do that.
Yeah, well,
I'm
you've
waiting
made
to
me
meet
feel
them.
like, what the fuck am I doing taking people to Mexico? I need to be taking people to my own country. We need to talk, actually. I feel like there's something we need to do together around this, like, because, yeah, I feel that, and it's sad. Like, it's sad. It's sad when you feel so removed from what you came from. So I'm curious, the Egyptian stuff, do you connect to that deeply? Do I want to ask that? Do I want to ask? Oh, there's so many things I want to ask. I also want to ask about like deities and bring some of that through. No, let's go Egypt. Let's go Greece, and then we'll move on to Egypt. I feel like let's pack Greece up in a nice little bow. Um, Talk to me a little bit about like, so obviously you've studied a lot of folklore and myths and all of that, the Greek mythology and stories and anything that's coming through to talk to or share about that. Because I mean, I don't know, like I know the ones that we know, I know about Medusa and Hercules and like I know some stories, but I don't know too much about like the deities, like their different functions, and I think that they're pretty similar to the Roman ones, right? Like there's like parallels. There's kind of like so.
Yeah.
Oh, and what's his name? The Roman one. What's the Roman version of Apollo? You know this. Come on.
Apollo. Still
Yes.
Apollo.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go. So I couldn't
That's the
get
only one. Yeah,
it.
that one they decided to keep. And actually also Dionysios, they kept the same. Um, he gets like an IUS, like Dionysios, instead of Dionyso, like Dion. I don't even know how you'd say that one in English. Dionyso.
Yeah, Dionysus,
Um,
isn't it? Dionysus.
yes, that's how they say it. Yes, Dionysus, yeah. Um, So I would say the biggest thing that people don't always know about mythology in Greece is that first of all, there's three pantheons, sort of, if you want to think of it that way. There's the ancient Greek Olympians, who most
Mm.
people think of, led by Zeus, Hera, Hestia,
Athena.
Aphrodite's in there, Athena's in there. Athena's also very new as a goddess. All of them are new. They're all new, brand spanking new. They're only 2,300 years old.
Wow.
They are the second generation coming after Cronus and Rhea, who were Titans, who were the second generation. So they're the third. The Olympians are the third generation. Cronus and Rhea are the second, and then way back is Gaia. So Gaia, Nyx, Chaos, Erebus, Eros, basically divine concepts of
Mm.
existence came way first.
Wow.
So the
Wow.
Olympians are a
Right.
product of the
Cool.
patriarchy. They're a new concept. That's why
Do
I
you,
do not identify as a Hellenic polytheist, because to be Hellenic means to be part of Hellenism, which is
mm,
part of, you know, government. It's a governmental word. It's not actually descriptive of our culture or our land. I mean, it kind of
wow.
is because it's on our land that it happened, but it was a form of colonization in a way. Because do you think our ancestors out in the village were thrilled that these city dwellers were coming in and forcing them to build battlements and armaments? And they're like, yeah, but who were we even fighting? Like that was the reality of a lot of Greece, was like, well, of everywhere really in the world. It's like the villagers just get thrown along for the ride.
Mm.
So yeah, the Olympians are brand new. They're a new pantheon in my mind. I work so archaically, like I am so far in the past beyond that. Like my concern now is like with the Mycenaeans and the Greek tribes that aren't, their names are lost to time, that we have written record from, but we don't know how to translate the letters.
Mm. So you think like the oracles at Delphi were like pre all of these, like this pantheon of God,
All the
obviously.
oracles, yes, they
Wow.
go way back before any pantheons, like
Oh my
so far
body.
back.
Oof. Wow.
Because even we can call it a pantheon, but Gaia, it literally just means earth.
Yes.
Uranos means
Yeah.
sky. Like
Yeah.
Nyx means darkness.
Yeah.
They're concepts that humans like faces. We gave them faces,
Yes.
but they're deeper than that.
Yeah, and when you said Eros, I just felt the energy, right? I love that because, for me, I don't like I work with different energies. I work with Kali here, a dragon there, a fucking Apollo, whatever. Like I work with these archetypal energies and I feel them and they're differentiated. But ultimately, and I see myself as Gnostic, like very fucking Gnostic. It's like triple flame creator, like the father, the mother, the child. And that's how I interpret the energy. It's the divine mother, the earth, like the goddess, the creation, and then the divine father, the sky, the witness, right? And it's always been this. It's very simple for me. There's no fucking fluff. There's no bells and whistles. There's no. And sometimes these fractals represent in these different energies, or they take on a quality like, oh, I need some dark masculine energy, like fucking Pluto or Hades or something in my life to get me in my eros to like clear some kinky shit, or I don't know, like whatever. It'll come through, and that's what's going to serve me to see it that way. But whenever people get attached to like a goddess or a god or certain different, oh, it's this energy working through me, I'm like, but it's all just part of the same like higher, like it's like it all breaks down to a more primal, the primal flame of the creator. Like it's just primal energy. It's just primal light and sound patterns. What you're saying, we attribute these colors or these noises or these frequencies, these patterns, and we create a story about what they are. But actually, like if you think about like Kali Ma, for instance, I work a lot with Kali energy, and I'm doing inverted finger quotes because I'm like, it's just destruction. It's just feminine chaos. It's like you're saying chaos, I'm like, I feel Kali. You're saying Eros, I'm feeling fucking Venus or Aphrodite, or like, I don't know, even Hades can be a bit kinky when I feel into it. Like, so I think it is this desire to strip back and go back to like the primal essence of these, and that's what I'm really resonating with in what you're saying.
Yeah.
So do you think when I say this then maybe that paganism is so close to that because it is working with these very elemental primal concepts, like yeah.
Oh.
No, I'm here. I
Oh,
stopped talking.
good. Oh, it
I
came back.
finished. It was
No,
a
it
question that I didn't
it kind of
inflect.
I lost it. No, 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 you're good. Um, Yeah, and paganism, I love that term. I know it went through its hate in the early 2000s, but to be pagan is to be of the country. That is what
Yeah.
it meant. And they
Mm,
used it derogatorily. Um, just like today we might say redneck or hillbilly.
mm,
But at the same time, if a powerful Appalachian magician is reclaiming that term hillbilly, they're like, "Yeah, dude, I'm a hillbilly and I'm damn good at what I do."
mm.
Good for them, right? And it's the same for pagan. Like, I am of the hills. My people are mountain dwelling, river swimming Greeks. Like, we maybe enlisted in wars and stuff because we had to, but we stayed in the mountains. We stayed with the trees. And I'm proud of that. And so I think the pagan umbrella is a beautiful term for, yes, primal connection to nature. And in Greece, we have different levels of what nature elementals are. Um, every culture has that concept. Like we have the she in Ireland versus like, the Cailleach, who's a goddess figure, but she shapes the land. We have that in Greece, but on steroids. Like we have like categories for nymphs, but then we have micro nymph categories under that.
Yeah.
Like yeah, we literally like look at the Wikipedia page for like names of land spirits per culture, and it's like Irish, Scottish, Greek. Scroll, keep scrolling, keep scrolling. Like it's so funny. It's great. So with that, like that came into our life. Like that's who I'm concerned with. I'm getting to a point where I'm like, do I call this like I think it's more shamanistic than I'm comfortable using that word
Yeah.
sometimes because I'm
Fuck
also a
yeah.
witch, I'm also a priestess, but it's very fucking shamanistic. Like I'm here
Mm,
with my drum. I use the drum as both my voice to the land because those vibrations literally do travel down your body into the land. Of course, also out a sound. But also the land sends up to me. It almost like makes requests. Like it'll be
mm,
like, "Oh, do you know that one about the?" Like that's kind of what it feels like. And and you start to hear the nymphs singing
mm,
when you're drumming with them.
mm,
And it's really coming through to share that there has to be a trust with the land. And
mm-hmm.
I think that maybe is what people are missing, especially on colonized land like you and
Yeah.
I are on at this moment.
Oh my
I'm in
God.
America right
Yeah.
now.
I was fucking banned from working on this land by the Aboriginals here originally. Originally, they were like, no, no, not a chance. Like, I would like go out to do good work and I'd be like, no. And yet I was going to Bali and all the spirits are like, please, like, welcome, you're home. Mexico, they were like, we literally called you there. Costa Rica. But in Australia, it was like, I felt this very unwelcoming presence be like, no, you're not allowed. And it was only after I cleared a bunch of really heavy contracts and stopped accidentally leaving portals open and I proved myself and I did some good work here with a sister who'd been working with this land and working with this land that they finally gave me permission and now they call me and I'm here and then working with it and like but it was like I had to fucking earn that. I had to show to them I am pure. I'm here with pure intention because the grids here, especially where I am up north, they're very clean, very pure, very ancient. Australia is like ancient as fuck. Possibly, in my opinion, maybe one of the most ancient lands and the people work it still. They still sing the song lines. They still, they're very underground, but they have not, because the colonization of Australia was probably the most recent out of all of these ancient cultures. Yes, a lot of them got fucking completely wiped out and traumatized and all this stuff, but they're young enough that luckily, which is, it's kind of poetic, like one of the most ancient peoples were one of the last ones to be colonized. And so those very ancient
Mm.
traditions are still being they talk. I remember in school, it's like fucking amazing that I went to a school that did this. They brought in Aboriginal elders to talk to us about the song lines and the rainbow serpent and all these things. And I know it's like, I just getting so emotional being like, how fucking special is it that I got to grow up in a place where they honor that? And yeah, now there's like a lot of awareness around Aboriginals and stolen lands and all of the trauma. It's horrific what happened here and everywhere. But what I'm trying to say is now I'm welcome to work with the land, but there was a time when it was like, you are not like there's not a chance you have to be when we see you we're going to watch you and you prove yourself sort of thing. So I hear that and I also feel what's coming through for me to say on my perspective of this and it's so funny because I was literally sitting this morning and I was like receiving this download for this grid working thing and I was like am I just making this up and now we're having this conversation I'm like it's fucking not because we're going to talk about all of this in the course so it's like it's so funny. Um it's like reciprocation with the land, right? Because she will amplify and like help you, but it's like it's a reciprocation, like it's a give and take. I go there, I help her clear, I help her whatever, like bring in an energy she needs. Me vibrating on her is going to make her vibrate. I do like tantra with the land sometimes. I literally will lie on the ground fucking the land. Like I'm like, it sounds crazy, but it is. It's like this exchange of energy, and like, you know, we're making love, and that's healing her and it's healing me, and it's this synergy. And then when you start working in the crystalline grids, well, that's just fucking pure amplification. So it goes beyond the land, because whatever intentions you're putting in the grids then go into the land, which then amplifies out. So now I'm being called to take us to Egypt, because this is very like very in Egypt. We worked with pyramids, and I say we because I definitely have many, 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 many lifetimes in Egypt. Hello, Isis. Um, you know, so what's your understanding of this going back to Egypt? And have you spent much time in Egypt? Have you done any of these chamber activations and worked with the pyramid sites and all of this?
I have not done any so there's a lot of retreats and things that go to Egypt.
Yeah.
Um, my hesitation has been, as an Egyptian woman, in my lifetime, they've executed two witches
Wow.
for witchcraft and they were Western women who were practicing.
Fuck.
So a lot of people see these price tags on Egypt. And then if you look at the price of things in Egypt, you might wonder like why, or you might think that that person is making a lot of money on you. It's bakshish. That's what we call like bribes. They're bribing them to be allowed to do that. So it's very, very dangerous. Like you could literally be killed for doing it. And I also, for 3 years, my family lived in the Middle East in Bahrain. Um, and I've had my spirit guide with me since I was 3 years old. She's just always been there. I thought she was my imaginary friend at first. And as I got older and she wasn't going away, I had to basically be like, what the hell is this? Like, am I schizophrenic? You know, like all the things. And she actually led me to a book series that was about a girl who had a spirit guide, and it helped me understand what was going on. And so I've always had her guidance. And when we moved to the Middle East, she told me I couldn't do magic anymore. Like, she didn't say it as such, but she actually led me to Lord of the Rings and helped me use that as my sacred text while I lived there. And then I found out, why. Like the Middle East kills people a lot for witchcraft. There's a really fantastic book called The Witch by Ronald Hutton, and it's a scholarly text, but the first chapter is all about how the West has a misunderstanding that witchcraft is no longer persecuted because it's no longer persecuted there. But the Middle East and Africa, he goes into specific cases, and several of them happened while I was living overseas. So I also have a lot of wounding because the lineage of Egyptian that I am is Coptic, which is the ancient Egyptians. There's only about 8% of the Egyptian population today that are not colonizer Arabs. And anyone who is a Coptic Christian, they're relegated. First of all, until my generation, you had to get a tattoo of a cross so that they would shake your hand and know. So it's even worse than an ID. So my dad has one. My aunt, my cousin, everybody I know older than 35 has a tattoo of a cross, and you have to live on a landfill. It's the landfill. That's where the Christians are allowed to live in Cairo. And they have their own villages in places, but they don't have running water. I mean, it's very persecuted. So my family lineage is actually, we've been on the run essentially between Egypt and Greece since, think about how crazy this is, since about the 400s. So as me, I'm the oldest in my dad's lineage, oldest of my generation in his lineage. My mother is an American citizen, born and raised. My dad is Greek and Egyptian. I have three nationalities, three passports. And I am the first person who was born onto safe soil that I could stay on in over 1,800 years.
That's, that's a lot to carry.
Yeah, right? And that's been like landing in the past 6 months of like the severity of that. So Egypt is calling me. I get a lot of, since moving where I live now in Maryland, I am right next to the Susquehanna River, which is the longest continuously flowing river in the whole world. She's been flowing for over 300 million years.
Wow.
And she ends literally 200 feet from where I'm sitting right now.
Wow.
And I get visions of, are you familiar with Inanna's high priestess, Enheduanna?
No, I'm not. It
The
sounds very.
very first book ever written was by her, and it was sacred poetry to Inanna. And she was the high priestess at Ur, the first capital city that humans ever made, while her father, Emperor Akkad, started colonization for the first time in all of human history. So
Wow.
Inanna channeled through Enheduanna, she channeled the goddess Inanna into this poetry that was Inanna's warnings to humanity against letting patriarchy win and against colonization as a practice. In fact, it's actually also against cities, which is interesting. Um, but I see Enheduanna morph into a falcon-headed priestess and a crocodile-headed priestess. And she walked towards me from the river. And I've seen her twice since I moved here, exactly 6 months apart.
Wow.
And I also have been getting a lot of visions from Hator, especially in her aspect of like the voices, like she helps people with
Yeah.
voice. And one of my gifts as a healer, I don't really identify as a healer because I feel like I'm more somebody who helps people learn how to heal themselves. But as a teacher with my students, I tend to attract people who have throat chakra
Mhm.
blockages. And I'm very good at helping them heal it. So I think Hator is going to help me voice all of my Egyptian, my own family generational trauma, but also just Egypt is so traumatized. Like I've been there, I've been to the sacred sites. And when I walked through Hatshepsut's temple, Hatshepsut was a female reigning pharaoh, and the dude who took over after her actually erased her. He had her entire everything buried, but because it's Egypt, it's the sand. It actually preserved it really well. So they unexcavated it, and you can walk all the way through her entire temple halls. And
Wow.
when I was there and doing that, that was I was, 13, I think, and that was where a lot of my sacred rage, like feminine rage activations came through. It took me a couple of years to figure out how to channel that, but that was where it first started, was at Hatshepsut's temple. So I know I'm meant to return to Egypt, but I'm very anxious about the way the retreats are run because they're run by Westerners who don't know how big that risk is. Like if you're being asked to bribe someone 10,000 US dollars in a place where their average yearly salary is 600 US dollars, you have to know you're bribing them for something very dangerous. So that is my biggest caution. Like I did meet a girl who was like, "Oh yeah, we spent a whole night in the king's chamber." And I'm like, "You could have been executed if they hadn't bribed appropriately."
I know so many people who do pilgrimages to like so many of my friends, and I've been like, oh, I want to
Yeah.
do it too. And it's just like, fuck, I didn't even know.
It's a well-oiled bakshish and wasta is the way the Middle East operates. It's a well-oiled machine of bribes, but you just never know. Like I had a friend who Vietnam and Cambodia has the same problem on their border. Like you have to bribe them to be allowed to cross. And like I had a friend who like it just wasn't enough, and like one of the girls they were with had to do some really nasty things to get them free. So Egypt's the same way. I just wouldn't trust something that behind the scenes, Definitely go to Egypt during the day and do things like legally, but it's a very corrupt place. Like they have a lot of uprisings, there's
Mm.
coups in the government, and they've been fairly stable for like 13 years and they're investing a lot in tourism, so I really don't think it would be all that bad, but I just
Mm.
think a lot of Westerners are unaware of how bad it could be.
Yeah. I mean, I lived in Mexico, so I know I know bad.
Yeah. Oh, you get it. Yeah.
Um,
Yep.
but like, yeah, I mean, that's crazy. That is absolutely insane because I know so many people who are like, let's do an overnight stay or like a private sitting in this chamber and a midnight fucking this and that. And I've never once heard this. And I didn't, to be honest, I didn't even know that oracles and priestesses and psychics were still being persecuted in different parts of the world. Like that's how removed I think we are. And to be honest, maybe that's why we chose to be in these places like America and Australia to bring back this knowledge without that persecution, to bring into the collective.
Exactly.
It's like once it's in the fucking collective, they can't shut us all down. If the whole world is like, like awake with it.
I get messages from Greek pagans who are
Yeah,
like, stop telling people about the
yeah,
laws because it's making them think they can't come here on vacation. I'm like, dude, that's not what I'm saying. I'm
yeah.
saying know this because we need to change the law. And they're like, yeah, but we can't change the law. Just stop scaring people. And I'm like, that's what? 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 I will always be the whistleblower, like I am what you get. I'm so honest. I just truthfully like am just me all the time. And if something is hurting people and I think I have a voice that can help change that, I'm gonna say how it's bad. I'm gonna do it.
That's dragon energy as well. Dragon mama energy of like I'm gonna fucking speak up. I'm gonna like defend. I'm gonna the dark feminine, right? It's very strong. Let's see. Is there? I feel like we've covered so many things. I just need to like take a beat. Is anything feeling like really alive for you to bring forward in this space in this moment?
I don't know. I think maybe something on fear.
Mm.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. Fear of maybe
Persecution.
fear of receptivity. Yeah, like because I said earlier that you if we want to have a deeper relationship with places, sacred places, sacred pasts in places, we have to have a trust in the land that it can help us see that. Because our mind can get in the way and be like, oh, I need literature, I need a podcast, I
Mm.
need sources in Chicago style before I can, feel safe in that knowledge as a truth. But when we trust the land, it helps us deepen what truth can actually mean for the cells that are this body, for the soul that this body is just a facade for.
Mm.
And that is what dispels fear. Because I think people get caught up on the I'm afraid and they don't just try the trust. Because the
Mm.
trust is what removes that fear.
Absolutely.
So,
And it's a knowing. It's a knowing. It's like a unseen. It's interesting you're saying this because I'm moving through this initiation. And this is unrelated to kind of like everything we've spoken about. It's a different, but it's still the same. It's that sense or force from within, which is like always okay. It always knows. It's always like in alignment. It's always the soul, right? Or God, or connecting to the earth or the land. That is when we're living in this society that's so far removed from all of that, it's really hard for us to like get connect to the land or connect to that energy of just abundance or support or like I know everything's going to be okay or everything I need is here and there's reciprocity. Oh my God,
reciprocity.
reciprocity. Jesus, reciprocity. Blah, blah, blah. um, And I think it's made like we've been made to be so disconnected from that inner voice or that stillness or that knowing that like wealth is within me, abundance is within me, everything I need is within me. The land always provides. I have everything I need. There's only this now moment. Like all these universal laws, we've become so
Hmm.
tactically fucking disconnected from. When we go out in nature and just like live that way, none of these things that we've created as problems exist. It's like I'm not worried about paying my fucking rent or not paying my rent or like this thing or that thing or validation on Instagram or whatever the fuck. Like none of it matters when we strip everything back and return to the essence, the truth of what is, right? So that's how I
Hmm.
read what you were saying about that. Like when we can get really quiet and curious and learn to listen, like listen to the earth, listen to the land. It's like we're tapped into something else completely, and it's so beyond the society and what we're at. And I think that's, you were saying the work that you do feels shamanic. And I think that's really truly any priestess, oracle, whatever, like we're all the fucking same thing. And all we're trying to do is connect back to that life force that's running through everything. All of these traditions, all of these religions, except like Christianity, which completely is anti what I'm saying, is all these different ways that the ancients connected, singing, drumming, dancing, you know, healing work, working with herbs, working with crystals. It's all pointing to the same thing, and it's this interconnectedness to the mother, to the earth, to life, to
Yes.
the sky,
Yes.
right? The
Yes.
elemental primal nature. And so it is fucking shamanic. Like doing any of this work is deeply shamanic without having an attachment to the word shamanic. Because I know people have come up at me for saying I do shamanic healing, and I'm like, it's all fucking shamanic healing. Like it is just earth based. It's what it is, and you're singing with the spirits of the land and the water and the air and the whatever.
Yeah.
But I think every priestess, every oracle, because that's a lot of them that listen to this podcast, they're priestesses and oracles. That's why they're here. We have this shamanic force within us, right? I've been this week, I've been holding space in this erotic current workshop. It's like a 10-day portal of fucking amazing, powerfully turned on women, and it's about wealth and all these. Anyway, I've been like basically orgasming for like a month straight, like walking around orgasming, and I've been really like just connecting to my womb and my body and my feminine and just letting it just be whatever. And like the moans and the sounds are like that. Just when I let myself connect into my primal feminine, it's so shamanic. It's so shamanic, and it's like, you know what I'm saying? Like I don't need to go into like the sounds with you, but it's we all have that within us, and that's what any of this is really pointing to. It's us connecting to that primal aspect. So
Hmm.
I don't know if you have anything to add to that.
I would just add that reciprocity is an ancient Greek virtue as well. Charis.
Right.
And there's 13 virtues, and Charis was like one of the founding ones because you have to build your relationship with divinity, however that is for you. It has to be from a place of reciprocity. It's not blind service to a higher power, which of course
Yes.
we see in modern Christianity. And that is, you said it yourself. You said tactical separation.
Uh-huh.
Exactly. Christianity purposely knew, and the Magdalene codes all, tell us that that was not Christ's intention, but the way that Christianity evolved, um, like that is the problem for Christianity is, oh no, these people are getting validation from their own personal relationships. We better put a priest in the middle of that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's if we can step into reciprocity, a lot of these other programmed fears start to fade away.
Yeah. I mean, I work a lot with like the Essenes and the Cathar codes, Magdalene codes, like Gnostic Christianity, like true fucking going back to
Yes.
Jesus was a trained
Yeah.
master. He went to the Himalayas. He worked in Egypt. Like, it's like pointing to the same shit. And it's all like going back to this one core of that connectedness with everything. So yeah, I love that. And what a beautiful way to kind of like round this out. Elyse, if people want to see you, find you, follow you, listen to you, read your books, how can they do that?
Yes. So I am everywhere at seekingnumina. Numina means sacred places in Latin. That's what I do. I seek them out and I take people to them in immersive pilgrimages in Greece in May and June of 2026. And my website is seekingnumina.com, so you can find all my upcoming courses. My next course is the witch codes. So it's not exclusive for people who label themselves as a witch. Every year, I'm very impressed with like the diversity that comes in. Last year, I had a Native American student. I also had a Christian student. I also had an atheist student. But witch codes gives you the codes of being a witch, and it helps you know what that toolkit is so that you can add it to your personal spiritual arsenal. Um, so yeah, it's a really fun course that starts November 4th. And yeah, I have both my books coming out this fall. So check it out at seekingnumina.com. Pre-orders are much appreciated. Um, Thank you. Yeah, thanks for
What
having me.
are what are the books on?
So the first one is called Sacred Wild, an invitation to connect with the spirits of the land.
Wow.
So that one is what it sounds like. It's the perfect first book. Like if you really have not worked with just land, if
Mhm.
somebody listening is like, I don't know what you mean, like aren't fairies dangerous?
Mhm.
This is the book. Like start here. This will answer those questions. And if you work with land, but you've never thought much about codifying it or trying to understand relationships between land, and I also go really deep into the nymphs and the Greek side of things because that's what I know is what happens. It's a fantastic resource for that. Like I had a couple of my friends who have written like incredible books, and they told me, they were like, you really helped me put into perspective what I've struggled to explain to my students about land perspective.
Yeah, I
So
need to
that
read it as well. Yeah, that sounds great. Mm.
And then the other one's a novel. It's a paranormal mystery novel with a witch at the main heart of it. So I call it Charmed meets Nancy Drew because she's a real witch. So there's no like magic spells that like poof things or anything, but it's real magic that's practical for if you had a haunted house, how you could deal with it, but in a novel. Like it's such a fun little story. And um yeah, it's good. It's good practical magic.
I love that you're writing. I've been feeling like I want to because I've written two books as well, but I've just been feeling this weird urge to write like an erotic novel, like just like some fucking erotic novels get people so turned on, and I'm like, yeah, but why would I do that? Like, it doesn't align with like, and I'm like, why? It's gonna be fun. So yeah, you've inspired me to maybe get into writing some fiction. Wow, this has been everything. Like, this has been so good. Thank you so much for coming. It's been deeply activating and healing for me. I'm really glad that I trusted my intuition, but when don't I? So thank you for being
Yes,
here.
thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you for
yeah,
having me, and thank you to your guides for making this happen because the internet is such an interesting place sometimes, and I'm just
yeah,
so grateful for it in these moments.
absolutely. All right, guys, thank you for listening. Until next time, beautiful souls, I love you. Thank you for listening to another episode of Cracked Open. Don't forget to hit subscribe and share with a friend if this episode has served you in any way.
For more information about the work that I do or to get in touch with me, read the show notes or head to beckmylonas.com. Until next time, beautiful soul.